put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show, and it is my privilege at this point in time to chat with Dr. Shurla Waldron-Joseph. I went to school with her. I knew her back then as just Shurla Waldron. Now this morning we are chatting with Dr. Shurla Waldron-Joseph, Principal Bethesda Government Primary School, and Bethesda Principal is now a PhD. Good morning and welcome, Dr. Waldron-Joseph.
Good morning, and thank you so much for those warm greetings, Rhea, my classmate.
That's right. It's good to have you with us this morning. And I want you to start this morning by giving our viewers an idea of your journey from Shurla Waldron-Joseph, and now Dr. Shurla Waldron-Joseph.
Wow. Well, it has indeed been a journey. I mean, I started my career in teaching in 1998. And those days we had to go to Teachers Training College in Valsayn, and I would have journeyed to Trinidad, as those old people said, packing everything, and had to relocate to Trinidad in order to study for 2 years.
Right.
I would have completed my diploma in primary school teaching, came back to Tobago, and it was at that time they informed us that it will be in our best interest to do our Bachelor's of Education. I then pursued that with the University of New Brunswick via Roytech. After accomplishing that, my other colleague said, you know, that's it. It was a lot of work. And I said to myself, I am going to go forward. I remember my mother, now deceased, would have encouraged me. She said, isn't there anything else to do? And I said, yes, you can do your master's. And she said, then what? Get going. And I began that master's journey. Again, I was the only Tobagonian in my cohort. So I had to quickly make friends with my Trinidad counterparts. I would have journeyed to Trinidad weeks on end. I met in the vacation when school closed, we used to have an intense program. So you had to pack up that Monday and head out. So I didn't have any vacation. Had to go to school, to NAPS, to Roytech, in order to meet with my lecturers, because those lecturers were normally coming from Canada. And we had an intense, that was the only time you physically met your lecturer. You know, so we would have done that. I would have accomplished my master's. Again, I was the only Tobagoan. Those days were lonely days. Because in order to speak with somebody concerning the program, I had to call my counterparts in Trinidad, and they was really good to me. And after completing my master's, I said, you know what? I think the next step is my doctorate. There were times I thought about it. I said, nah. There were times I thought, and then finally, I got the courage to say, let me go forward. And I applied for my doctorate. I was accepted in 2018, August 2018 to be exact. I graduated with my master's October of that same year. So while I was graduating, I was already a doctoral student, already enrolled. Again, the story continues. I was the only Tobagonian, only person that took up that mammoth task of completing a doctorate in education. It was a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights. I had no one with me. I had to quickly make friends again with people in other parts of the world. I had a special friend in Bahamas, and we studied together, and we did accomplish it. Zoom and WhatsApp were our best friends. Up to this day, I have not physically seen my friend, but we communicate like if we have known each other for years. She has been a strong source of support to me.
Now, Dr. Waldron, I want to know about the balance, how you were able to create that balance, because you said along the way you wanted to give up, and I'm sure that it was not easy because you were working at the time.
Yes.
You are a wife, you are a mother, you are, I know you function actively in your church. How were you able to create that balance?
Really, it was God. Because sometimes even now when I look back at the things that I was engaged in while studying, and you're so correct, back then I was a teacher. I got the principal during the COVID period. So then I became a principal while doing this program. I'm an ordained reverend, so I preach in my church.
Yes.
Right? I am also on a board. I'm the chairman of a board. You know, and I'm a motivational speaker. I speak to persons. I had to go to school. I had to balance family It was just God giving me that ability to balance because nothing fell through while I was studying. And you see, support, it's vital. I had the support.
And I know you mentioned your mother, and I knew your mom,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew your aunt,
Mm-hmm.
and they were very much on education.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
How did it impact you? Because you would have been studying while all of this was happening. It was just a few years ago that your mom and your aunt passed away.
Yes.
How did you cope? How did you manage with this?
It was for me a time of grief because the two ladies that really impacted my life, they went one after the next.
Yes. And they were very close. They were really bim
Very
and bam.
close. Yes.
Yeah.
And imagine they died like that, bim and bam.
Yeah.
My mom went quickly after a short illness, and I had to deal with that. And as you rightfully said, in the midst of that, I wanted to give up. But I remember that I promised my mother that I will do this. So I could not give up. My aunt, I grew up with my aunt for a number of years. She was a stickler for education.
Remind our viewers which aunt we're talking
That
about.
aunt, the late Phyllis Armstrong, late school supervisor. I grew up with this aunt, and Rhea, she was a stickler for education. And really and truly, she was my role model. When I saw how she dressed and how she carried herself, I said to myself, even from a tender age, I want to be like you.
No nonsense.
No
but
nonsense.
Push education.
Yes, and it did not dawn on me that I would surpass what she would have accomplished in terms of the teaching and the teaching fraternity. But they were strong women, and I really thank God for that upbringing that I had from an early age. And even now, I'm instilling those same values in my own daughters.
Okay. No sons yet? All right.
None.
I don't think she paid attention to the yet part, but I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. But in terms of you having accomplished and acquired this position of your doctorate, you are principal of a primary school. How does this make a difference in the lives of your charges, your colleagues, those who you're in charge of?
Well, it really makes a great difference because while studying the program, the kind of courses that I was engaged in, human resource, people conflict, managing finances, all those courses, how to deal with alternative forms of assessment, how to deal with alternative forms of fundraisers. You know what, Rhea? All those courses have a significant bearing on my leadership now because I was exposed to it. And even while I was doing this program, I remember one of our lecturers, Dr. Nurse, said that every teacher should have been engaged in a program like this because it exposes 22 courses, after which you wrote a book and you had to defend that book in order to get the okay from the university board. It's not an easy feat accomplishing a doctorate. It's a lot of work. I remember while studying, they would remind us, the lecturers would say, we didn't get this easy and you're not going to get it easy. So you knew it was coming.
Yes,
a lot of reading, you have to read articles upon articles because you had to write your own book. So I wrote my book. I spoke towards the impact of transformational leadership on teacher success.
I'm looking at you here, and I'm also seeing hints of your cousin, Reverend. Is she Reverend now? Shurla Waldron-Joseph? Charlene, your sister. Right. Yeah, I'm looking at you and I'm seeing so much of her.
My sister.
Yeah. All right. And I tell the two ladies who are just pushing the boundaries, really pushing the boundaries. Now, even as we're wrapping up here with you, what do you say to Tobago's young women, and in fact, Tobagonians on a whole, because I often see the sacrifices that you would have made, having to go to Trinidad, having to leave your family, sometimes undone, I'm sure, to go to Trinidad, to push your education. Looking back, I mean, the sacrifice you say was worth it.
Yes.
But what do you say to Tobagonians who are looking on, and Tobago girls and our daughters who are looking on saying, I want to, but I can't. I want to, but I don't know if I can. What do you say to them?
I will say resoundingly, you can. You can. One, when I got engaged in this program, one of the things that got me very much terrified was the cost of the program. Because The GATE program carries you up to the master's, half of it. But when it comes to the doctoral level, there is no assistance. But fortunately for me, I got a little minute assistance from Datus in the education. But I'm saying that money alone could have turned me from doing this program. And I'm saying if I was able to, I mean, I emptied all my reserves to do this. And I would say to every other person, every other young girl, you can do it. There are a lot of opportunities that have been opened to women on the international level, locally. And I'm saying to my fellow Tobagonians, grasp this opportunity. Seek for every opportunity to develop yourself. We are continuous learners. We are professionals, and we should try to be professional in every aspect. So I'm saying to young girls, you can, whatever is your dream, whatever you want to accomplish, go after it. God is backing you, and you will get the support, and you will be able to accomplish that.
All right. Now, Dr. Waldron, we're wrapping up here, but who are those persons out there that you'd like to publicly thank and send out some love to?
Well, I want to thank my husband, Roger Joseph, who has been there with me through this 48 months. I want to thank my daughters, Jada.
48 months, that felt like more, right?
That felt like 98. I want to thank my daughters, Jada and Jade. I want to send out a big shout out to my father. I know he's listening now from the United States. I know he's locked on. I want to thank him for his support. I want to thank my friend, Dr. Fan Bo, out of the Bahamas. We stuck together through thick and thin. She has been a strong source of support. I want to thank my church family, Calvary Road Deliverance Tabernacle. Yes, I want to thank them for their support. I want to thank all my colleagues in education, the West Indies School of Theology. That is where I conducted my research. I want to thank them for opening their gates and allowing me to use them as my participants and use the school as my site. And to all my family members near and far, thank you. You have supported me. You stood by me. And I must say thanks this morning.
All right. Congratulations to you as well from the class of 89.
Yes.
Signal Hill Secondary School. We say congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, Rhea.
All right. Well, viewers, we're going to leave it there for today. We want to thank you so much for joining us. GMT is coming up, so you don't want to miss it with Candace. So we're going to say thank you again for joining us this morning. And we're going to head on over at this point to Tobago Notes. Have a great day, Tobago. Bye-bye.